Hi, I'm Matt Call with Great Basin Incident Management Team 1. We're here on the Mount Hood National Forest on the Camp Creek fire. Today's September 7th, and this will be your update. We're at about 1,940 acres, and we're still about 16% contained. So we did add some containment edge, and we did add a little bit of acreage, but that percentage didn't increase at all, basically. So why is that? That's kind of a weird question, right? So I'll show you that when we kind of zoom in on the map in just a sec. So we'll just kind of earmark that for a minute. Here's our big map, and here's the 26 highway, and then the communities along the 26. Again, we're 4.5 miles away from the 26. The power lines are here, and then we've got the 12 road coming, or excuse me, the 14 road coming out. So our fire hasn't really grown a whole lot, and we have gained some containment line, and we've made some shifts in some of our tactics, which are kind of exciting, and I'll show you. So half of what we're doing is the same, and half of what we're doing is a little bit different. So if you bear with me, I'm gonna shift between a couple of different maps, because I like maps, and I think they tell a good story. So let's talk about our containment. We got more containment right here, but we're still at 16%. So how can that be? Part of that is because the fire size increased a little bit in acreage. Some of that's because we get more accurate mapping when we get those IR flights. And part of it is because we actually changed how much edge we have. So we've talked about before, our containment's based on the percentage of black edge that we're comfortable with that's contained versus the red edge. So we have lots of linear red edge and not a lot of black edge. Well, we added a lot more actual length to the fire. So if you think about the fire, if we have a fire that's 10 acres like this, around my hand it's going to be maybe 10 inches. If I do that, the actual space, the acres, is the same area, but the distance of line is now going to be like maybe 24 inches. So it's kind of a good analogy. Again, it's some math stuff, but that's one of the reasons why we cut across these is to remove all this length of line. So don't get too caught up in the numbers. The good part is we're putting more line around it, and we're going what we call direct in a couple places. So we've talked about going along these edges and needing to burn this out. And the reason is because the fuels don't allow us, or in a lot of places the fuels in the terrain don't allow us to go in direct. Here we've been able to, the fire edge has been cooled down enough. We've been able to go in slowly and mitigate the hazards with mitigate those snag trees, those dead trees that could fall over, just kind of slowly poking in there and methodically removing those hazards, and so, or at least a level of those hazards to an acceptable level. And so we've gone in here with a hand crew, and that's what that H is we've actually gone, and you can see the edge of this fire is just squiggly, and that's where the hand crews have been in there just cranking out some hand line. Oh, sorry about that. Cranking out some hand line. So all that is good edge we're currently mopping up and have good fire lines. So now we don't need to burn that. We're doing the same thing here. It's just really slow because it's pretty steep terrain. It's pretty steep, snaggy. So snags a dead tree that could come down and fall on somebody. And as you know, the trees around here are big. We don't want that happening. So we're trying to do that slowly. With a lot of caution, where it makes sense. So in these areas, we're doing that. That is super beneficial because what it does in the big picture is it prevents the fire from burning to the south and to the east, prevents it from getting in the drain into the watershed, and prevents it from going towards homes, structures, towns, power lines, all that stuff. This locking off this corner is going to be a huge win for us. That tactic is going to continue along here. We're using a dozer here. We have terrain where we can use a dozer. We've had the falling modules go out ahead, take those hazard trees out. So we'll see some more of this kind of line construction here tomorrow. So now you guys are asking, why don't you just do it right here? This is pretty sketchy ground, and we've been looking here at this a lot. We've put a little bit of what we call check line in here to prevent the fire from growing too much this way, but this is just really tough country, and I'll show you what it looks like when we go to that Google Earth image. But we just haven't found a good answer. The crews are uncomfortable going in there. We think that this road is right now it's our best option. Still going a little bit more indirect. with this road network, which we've spent a lot of time prepping. So bounce around to the big map again. So this is our big piece of indirect line that we're building, and then again we'll probably have a good lock on this in the next few days, and then this one. So progression this way, we're feeling really confident it's not going to grow outside that line. This line here is really pretty solid, and then we have a line in here to check it, to slow it down if need be. So the chances of it moving south right now are really low, and as you've seen, our acreage just ticks up a little bit here and there every day. It's getting warmer and it's getting drier, granted, but that will work to our advantage when we want to go in and start burning this out. All of this road has been prepped, so we've gone in, cut down a lot of trees to thin that out, remove all those fuels. The problem is we got to have a place to put all that stuff. So all the smaller stuff we're running through chippers, and some of the bigger stuff we're moving around, and some of that is just basically a bunch of trees that we've had to take out of this road to widen it out a little bit, and those will be coming out on some trucks out here to the 26 and then to another site off-site, so we don't have a huge fuel load here. If we had a big pile of fuel out there, that's just going to cause a hazard. If we get a spot fire in that, it would be impossible to put that out. It would take forever. So that's kind of what's going on this big loop here. And then I'll show you the Google Earth. That's pretty zoomed out. Just to show you what that terrain looks like, why we can't really go direct here yet or haven't found a good solution. So we've got our fire perimeter oriented north is up again. I'm going to kind of pivot down. I'm going to stand out of the way so you can see this a little bit better. So what we're talking about is that indirect line, and you see the road here is kind of the obvious fuel break. And as I pivot around like that, we'll just kind of track that road, and you can see it provides a good buffer. We're cutting through those fuels in this drainage. It's pretty dense right here. And then when we jump down in this drainage here, you can see that's not something you can easily just throw some heavy equipment across or anything. Pretty steep there. And that's the piece of line right there. It's pretty tough to go indirect or to go direct. And there's a lot of snags, a lot of heavy old growth trees in there. I've had crews looking at it pretty much every day for 2 weeks, and it's just not a good answer yet. So we're still kind of in a holding pattern, waiting for the weather so that we can clean some of those edges up with our firing operations, which we talked about. I'll bring this back out. But we're really confident that we're on the path to success, and we're really happy with the way things are going, and we're happy it's getting a little bit drier, but not too windy. So we're hoping we can get some of these edges cleaned up in the next few days. As that happens, we'll keep you updated. Thanks for joining us.